Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast for Rafa Spars. Coming to you right now. It is 9:10 Best Coast time, which means it's time for another installment of the Grappling Hour. We've got a great guest, but before we do, a little quick reminder. If you guys are shopping for new rash guards or new gear or new jiu-jitsu stuff, believe me, there are lots of options. But if you go to No Gi BJJ Gear, you use the promotional code Grappling Hour 15, you get 15% off of whatever is in your cart. And here's the thing. I've gone up a rash guard size. Some of you might as well. I'm just saying, treat yourself. Don't make yourself feel bad. We'll all lose the weight. It's just extra rounds that we got to put on, and we'll get through it together. But yes, Grappling Hour 15 at No Gi BJJ Gear for all of your purchasing needs. All right, let's talk about our guest. I'm excited about this because I commentated the first submissions on the Shore program, and I've been very, very happy to see Albert put together events that are focused entirely on female cards. This is great because a lot of people talk about doing this sort of thing, but Albert is getting out there, putting it on. And I got to tell you, the reason why I'm excited about it is because these ladies go out there. They're savage. They give you great highlight reels. I watched an impressive highlight reel of our guest here today where it made me a little sad I didn't get to see it in person. But I am stoked to bring this young, upcoming, great talent, somebody who exudes a sense of having double legs, I hear, that are very hard to contain. And we're going to get to that and a bunch more other questions. But ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Submissions on the Store winner and standout one, Fatima Kline. How you doing, Fatima?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Excellent. Well, I mean, you've got a bit to be excited for, but I got to start off right off the back. Normally, I like to get straight into tell me a little bit about your competition, and we're going to get there in a second. But I think there's an important thing I need to be able to confirm or deny based on your history. Now, I have spies everywhere. Okay.
And got to keep on the lookout now.
And the intel I have, you can confirm or deny, is that you were obsessed with Smoothie King.
True or false? 100%. 100%. They a few people at the gym actually call me Smoothie Queen because whenever morning practices we have, you'll see me coming in medium, strawberry Hulk, extra whey protein. It's the way to go.
So when did you develop a taste for smoothies? Is it because it goes hand in hand with being an athlete, or what is the appeal of it?
I think it is so hard to pass Smoothie King on my way to the gym every single day and not get it. And then I realized the rewards I could get for it after I downloaded their app. And I was like, oh, $2 off like every other week. Why not? I love their smoothies. and so one after another, I just found myself going there almost every day until I had to start cutting weight a little bit. And oof, that was tough. Having a restraint from smoothies was.
I'm a little concerned here because it sounds like a really bad pyramid scheme that you got brought into, where it's like, well, $2 off of 10 of these. I mean, an idiot.
What a steal!
You know what I mean? Like, I would be dumb not to do this. Well, I'm glad we were able to get to the bottom of that. There's so many great things that I've learned about you in my research and in watching you compete over the weekend. I would love for you to talk to me about it because there's first and foremost, I must say, happy birthday. I think it was pretty impressive that, you know, a lot of people get to do fun things on their birthday, but you get to go choke people and break ankles as part of your birthday celebration.
Yeah, I could not have asked for a better birthday. Honestly, I was so focused on the competition. I forgot it was my birthday until I went on the interview after Friday night. And I was like, you know what? Sunday is my birthday. And so it was a great weekend. Very tough competition, probably the toughest competition I've had since I started jiu-jitsu. And it's been 10 years. So to say that at the least, it's been a blessed weekend. I couldn't have come back to New York happier. I want to thank all of my opponents for jumping in there and just tough. I must say, very, very tough competition. Not only like competitive wise, skill wise, just like you could tell mentally they were in the game. And that's what made it, I think, such a big show because you have two girls scrapping just to get that first place. And I think that's where really the display and the beauty of jiu-jitsu comes out.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, props to Al, but when he brought me on to commentate the first submissions on the shore, I was told that it was going to be an all-female event, and I said, great, because we don't get a lot of those. And so you realize very quickly that a lot of the times female competitors make use of their time. They make sure they're like, hey, if this is going to be an all-us card, we don't get a ton of these, so let's give you a show. And so I was blown away by the talent at that one, and I was super happy for you on this one. Let's talk a little bit about your day. Walk me through your matches.
Well, my first match on Friday, I was going into a bit of a heavier division, 145, when I weighed in at 125. Although I gained a few pounds before then, I made sure to carb up. But yeah, my first match went into overtime. Throughout the match, I definitely tried to play it safe. Being the lightest, being the underdog in a bigger class, I definitely wanted to make sure I was thinking before I just reacted, keeping the mistakes at a minimum and making sure through each step that I'm articulating it as best that as I could. But by the end of the OT round, when she escaped the back, I saw the triangle immediately. And as soon as I locked it up, I was like, oh my gosh, I got the triangle. I can't give this up. And I know I have time to finish. So I know at that point I could relax. I could fix it. I could fix my legs. I could switch to my regular triangle. I had to like peek down at my legs. I was like, oh, I'm reversed. I got to fix this. And so as soon as I fixed it, I was like, okay, I know I can finish this, stay calm, and just like be patient. And then thank God I won that match, and I went on to the semifinals. I must say, my second match on Friday was probably the funnest match I've had all weekend. She was very technical, didn't use much of her weight against me, which made it fun because we were both attacking, we were both defending, we were both going at each other. And before the match, throughout my training camp, we were really working on my leg locks, really working on defending and attacking immediately afterwards. Looking for those opportunities. I saw the heel, I took it and threw my hips into it, and I got the tap. And then finals match. Wow.
Actually, I want to stop you right here. I'll ask about finals because I know, I know what comes next. Was the opponent, correct me if I'm wrong, was the opponent for the middle one for the semifinals, was that Jennifer Rivera?
I believe so, yes. I'm not 100%
Rivera,
sure.
sorry. I'm
so sorry.
Jess Escobar. Sorry. I was like, I have it half right. No, Jess Escobar used to be Jess Escobar. Now she's Jess Rivera. Okay. But I saw like a clip of it, and she's a great competitor. So when I looked at your highlight reel, I was just like, oh, you got a great cross section. Now, in your last one, was that Jennifer Dietrich?
Yes.
I'm confused on the order, so I wanted to make sure I was getting
it. I know my first matchup was against. I honestly,
I'm so sorry.
I have no idea.
I got a great note here. We got a couple things. They corrected me. Mike Wacker is telling me it was Aaron Hurl, who, by the way, beast. Aaron is a beast. I love Aaron a lot. And Mike says Rivera was the second day. Thank you very much for the correction on that.
Thank you, Mike.
I literally jumbled all of it together through 30 hours of grappling over the weekend.
I honestly have no idea unless I see them.
Well, you know what? That's almost better, because when you end up having it like that, you don't worry about names. You don't worry about anything else. You just worry about the problem at hand.
Exactly. 100%. I know during my interview on Friday night, was the first time I found out that I was versing black belts. I had absolutely no idea. And I do think that was a great thing. I wound up asking Mike if he knew, and he knew, and he didn't tell me. And he was like, I knew it would get in your head. So I was like, it's just, some things are just meant to not be known. And that's one of the things, therefore, I could focus on my strength rather than my opponent's strengths.
Excellent. So let's talk about your epic finals match on the first day.
Yeah. Wow. When I look back at that video, I could not believe how that whole thing happened. Honestly, I remember seeing her hips switch as she went for the judo throw. And I was like, you know what, I can capitalize on this. And I kind of just, I guess I just shook my arm. I just limp armed it. And I got to the back and, I tucked, I rolled, and it didn't really feel real until I locked in the body triangle. And I was like, holy cow, I'm on her back right now. I don't know how I got here, but I guess at this point I got to finish it. And I have Mike screaming at me from the corner not to fall off the back. And I was like, oh, geez, if I fall off the back, like I'm never going to hear the end of this. So I made it a point to just stay on the back. I mean, like when you're in that good of a position, you cannot give that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as soon as I rolled to my hip, I saw the choke, faked one hand, and then as I saw the hand come up, and I was like, no way. And the tap, and I couldn't contain myself. When I put so much effort into this entire training camp, and I put so much into this competition, that when something that big pays off, it's like, it's a blessing. And I still can't believe that happened. And I really thank God for all of the wins and the losses.
Well, let me go ahead and absolve you of a little bit of that real quick, which is we have fun on our show. We'll occasionally poke fun of those people who do massive celebrations for winning by an advantage in an IBJJF tournament, and we kind of go, sure.
Yeah.
But I say if you do the due diligence of winning and you get out there and you put on a show, you get a chance to be a little bit, of a celebration. You earn
right. It. Yeah. I feel like I get so in the zone that I forget about everything. I forgot about my birthday. I forgot about everybody who was there. The only thing that, I'm focusing on is my opponent, and, listening and observing of what my coach is saying, and just honestly doing the best that I can. And, whatever happens, it happens. I know I've done the best that I could, and always try to put on a show no matter what. Always trying to make the people happy and do the best that I can.
And is Mike your coach?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Mike Wacker, he's my coach. He's the best coach.
When Mike's about to make the trip on out that way, what is he telling you airplane ride over, or, when you guys are traveling over? Because you mentioned if you would have lost that, there's a potential you wouldn't have heard the end of it. So obviously he's ingrained in you. We got to finish and take advantage of those positions.
Yeah. I mean, through our entire camp leading up to California, hours before it, we worked on finishing. Finish. And I must say, I've never felt that the best that I have until this competition. Physically, I felt very strong. My stamina felt great. My technique, I could see it just continually evolving. And throughout each match, it was a finish, whether it was an overtime finish or whether it was in the middle of the match finish. And I think, definitely Mike engraved that in me. He said, you have to finish this. You don't want to just write out the clock. You don't want to, rely on overtime to win. And I don't want to continually do these 10-minute matches just to win in overtime. You know what I mean? If I could save my energy, if I could save what I have, I'm going to do so. And if I see an opportunity, I'm going to take it. And so, yeah, I've never was finishing people until leading up to this fight. And this fight, all of them, it proved that go in there, you wait for it, you wait for your opportunity, you stay aggressive, you stay on them. And as soon as you see the opening, as soon as you see that opportunity, you take it right then and there.
I understand that. I mean, a lot of what I do with my friends, I tell them very politely that I have a dumb Hulk side to me. Because everybody's like, you're more Bruce Banner. Like, I've never seen the Hulk. And I was like, yes, correct. Because I like to have control so that nobody ever gets hurt.
Right.
I'm not a athlete that competes like that. I'm not an athlete that fights MMA. So to me, breaking you guys does nothing for me.
Right.
But at the same point, like having that switch to be able to do that is so important that if you don't have that when you need it, you could potentially get hurt.
Right. 100%. Definitely having control and knowing when to kind of pull the trigger, as you would say. If you go buck wild the whole time, it's it's inevitable a mistake's going to be made, and somebody could capitalize on it, especially at this high level of a game. People are going to see that, and people are going to know when, to capitalize on the mistakes that are made. So definitely keeping control mentally and physically, aggression wise, keeping control and knowing when to pull the trigger and knowing when not to as well.
Well, credit to you as well. One of my spies was also telling me that you have unbreakable mental resolve in the gym. So they're like, you will not break this girl in training, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I think thank God, because I don't rely on my own strength. If I relied on my own strength, I would completely fail. I definitely believe that God is using me for something beyond just, jiu-jitsu, beyond just the physical realm. You could see it in people when their mental breaks. You could feel it. You could feel it during matches, and you could just feel like their body rests and their body sigh. And it's sad to say, but like in jiu-jitsu, there's, yes, you could lose, but there's learning in that. There is much learning in losing, and there's much learning in winning as well. It's a game of learning. It's a game of evolving, and your game continues to evolve. You just gotta mentally put yourself out there. You have to mentally push yourself to your limits. Definitely during this camp, especially doing these 10+ minute rounds, it was tiring. It was very tiring every single day. Like not even barely having a rest day. If not resting, I'm working. And so it was tough. There were some days I was like, man, I don't know. My body is just, I don't know if I could do it. Mike would tell me, get in the gym, even drill, do something, you do something light, but do something. And I think mentally pushing yourself, mentally continuing to work, it's going to continue to evolve, and it only gets better. It's a game of learning mentally and physically.
That's such a
You
great
learn so much.
good perspective on your part, because a lot of people get very defeated by their losses and let it consume them. And a lot of the times I have a policy as a interviewer or as a friend to a lot of these guys, when a guy loses against another high profile competitor, they come over, they're like, I suck. And I was like, you suck now? Like, when did that happen? When did you just start sucking? Like, no, you lost today. Shut the fuck up. You get one day to bitch about it, and then tomorrow you go back on the mats. Like,
right.
That's my policy. So, but I do want to ask this. You mentioned about the camp, though. How long did you have in terms of, what did you dedicate in terms of a camp? I didn't know when you were necessarily brought on. So I'd like to get a perspective of how long you were kind of putting into it, because you said it was a lot of work, and I wanted to get all of that.
It was definitely a lot of work. Well, throughout kind of when COVID started hitting, I started doing a lot of weightlifting. I started gaining a lot of weight. I started gaining a lot of muscle. And then I'd say a little over a month, just about a month, I found out that we were flying out to California. Although it didn't feel real. When Mike told me, I was like, okay, like, you're telling me this now, but like, COVID's happening. I never thought I would be flying out to California to fight. I was like, I'll think it's real when it shows up. And so yeah, I started doing a ton of lifting, and we started training. I had about 2-3 training partners that I would only train with, that we would be doing these tough 2-hour sessions, putting in the work every single day. My coach was doing his part, looking up my opponents, strategizing, finishing. Every single round we did, it was to finish. And we were doing like 3, 4, 5, 10-minute rounds. Each round was 10-minute. And then 2 weeks, a week before, we started cutting it down to more like 6 very fast paced rounds, you know, definitely getting the work in and drilling our defenses, drilling the attacks, drilling our finishes, drilling our submissions, just critiquing the little things so that when you put it all together, it's a work of art.
Did you have any time that you took off as a result of COVID? Because I know that was such a pain in everybody's thing, and obviously for pro fighters, it's a little different than hobbyists. Like hobbyists, it's good for your health and you want to do it, and it's good for your brain. But for pro fighters, that's your living.
Yeah.
So, how long was your break if you did have one?
I'd say my break was probably around a little over like a week and a half. Going from training every single day, I was like, you know what? Let me give my body some rest. Let me recover. Let me, if I'm gonna take a rest at any point, everything's shut down. So now's the time to do it. So I took a bit of a rest. And then at some point I was like, you know what? You got to get up and you got to start grinding again. Because I kind of got into that mentality of like, oh, I like, just relaxing and, just chilling, and I was like, you know what, that's it. I was like, a week and a half has gone by. I was like, I'm done. I got to start doing something. And I had to push, coming off of a break of, even though it doesn't seem that long, your body feels it when you go to do the same thing again. Going from training every day to not training at all to training again, it's like, oh, I took a step back, but I made myself take another 3-4 steps forward. And so, yeah, but I'm happy. I'm happy to be able to train again. I'm happy that I got the chance to compete after, a few months since the shutdown. We were looking, and hey, across the country, why not?
Had you ever been to California before?
No. No.
Wow.
I didn't even know about the time difference until we got there, and I was like, oh, it seems it seems very bright out for being like 6-7 o'clock.
I mean, I will tell you this, it is always a culture shock. I remember as a kid flying to the East Coast and, it being different, but I wasn't fighting anybody. I didn't have matches with people.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, I go, your first fight is always your weight. The second fight is usually the travel. And then maybe by the 4th or 5th fight, you get to the actual fight,
Yeah.
There's a lot of little mental games that you have to go through in that. Did you get to do anything fun out of California? Because you ended up competing both days, right?
Yes. Yeah. So on Thursday, we actually spent the day at Newport Beach, and oh boy, I passed out the entire day. I was just sleeping on the beach, and I was fine with that. I was like, oh, I get a day to, rest and get my body, nice and tan before tomorrow. And then obviously the day of both of my fights, Friday and Saturday, I definitely stayed out of the sun. Just fueled my body. And then Sunday, we went to Huntington Beach, and we went to Hollywood, and we were able to see the sign and see a few of the stars. And so, yeah, I loved it. It's beautiful up there. I am definitely like a beach, and like I love seeing the sunrise. I love seeing the sunset. I love seeing the palm trees. That was like the biggest thing in like for me and my mom and my family. We were like, we got to see some palm trees because that's how you're in California. But it was funny because a lot of the places we went to eat, they were like, where are you from? Like, you sound different. And we were like, oh, we're from New York. And they were like, I knew it. I think it's just the attitudes, the intensity. Like, I guess when you know.
May I be a little revealing in telling you how I think they might have known? I live out in North Hollywood, so I'm close to the, touristy areas. But
right.
There's a certain vibe, and I'm picking up from your enthusiastic voice that I'm pretty sure as you went to these places, you were like, can you believe there's palm trees? And they're like, yeah. We know you're from out of state.
Oh, we know.
But you know what the nice part is? I consider myself an ambassador of LA. So to hear you get all of the places that I know and I've grown up and I love makes me so happy, and getting to spend some time on the beach, because I think a lot of competitors also, when it comes down to it, they get so inside their head or they get so crazy about the competition, they don't understand the mental health day of like, okay, now take a break and kind of get yourself relaxed and then
Right.
fight again, you know?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I knew going out to California, I was like, like for me, it's a business trip. But it could be a fun one. You know what I mean? And I definitely I didn't want to go there with the mindset of, you know, just absolutely I was 100% focused, but let's say things didn't turn out the way they did. I didn't want that to ruin my whole trip. I came out here for a reason. I came here for a job to do. I did the job, but I had fun doing the job. And regardless of what the outcome might have been or could have been, I knew, this is what I love to do. So win or lose, I'm having fun, and getting to experience a whole new place with all my teammates, my coaches, my family. That was what was most important to me, and being able to win and doing my best and doing a good job, that just kind of put the cherry right on top.
I'm so curious from the perspective of the athlete. Was this the first tournament or kind of competition you had since COVID?
Yeah. Yep.
What did it feel like to get out there? I mean, obviously, it's nice to win, but I'm really, really interested to hear what the athletes have about your first competition back from competition.
Not gonna lie, it was a bit of, I felt more pressure than normal. Um, Before COVID, I was competing very often. Two, almost three times a month, I would compete. Different shows, either, whether they were small, whether they were bigger. I just wanted to get out there and constantly, just compete against new people. You get more mat time, and so, coming off of that, doing that so often, and then everything just is at a freeze. I was a little bit on the questionable side going all the way to California after I haven't competed in 2 months, 3 months. And so it was a little bit of a shell shocker. I was like, I was competing so often to compete at a card this big, and then ironically everything just froze, and so I was like, man, I was like, I kind of wish this happened, like, when I was, getting my competition jitters out so often. So I felt more pressure, um, but it was a good pressure. It was a, you know, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of everything that's been going on, go out there and just do your best. Go out there and show them what you're made of. Bring some of that New York energy out there, and so it was definitely a shell shocker, but it felt good. It felt rejuvenated to finally compete again, and it was something I missed dearly. I love competing. I love the excitement that I get from it. I love even though I get nervous, it's a good nervous. It's a nervous that makes you, go warm up, go out there and do your best. And so that was something I missed, and then it's something I'm missing already. I can't wait to get out there again, wherever it is. I'm excited to see what's next.
Well, excellent to hear that, because I have a note that was put in the comment section over here, and that came earlier from Jordan Jitsu, aka Jordan Peitzman from BJJ Woodstock. It says, we got to find you an opponent for BJJ Woodstock so she can join Aaron Harris. And
Yeah.
that would be fantastic. Aaron's a phenomenal competitor. I have a large degree of respect for his game as well.
Yeah, he's amazing, and the fact that he came out there with us, as well as Mike and Lauren, Sammy and Billy and my family. The fact that they took time out of their life to come and to support me and to help me out is it was amazing to have them there. Mentally, like Aaron kept on, reminding me, hey, you've trained for this. You did the best you could. My training partners were there. They were like, you're ready for this. And it's now or it's never.
What a great support network that you got going on there. So good for you. Let's talk a little bit about this. I know in doing some research about you, obviously you are competing in MMA. You are going to make that something that you want to pursue, especially once we all get back to normal. But I was curious. I've heard you're a huge Rose Namajunas fan. So how do you conflate competing on a day when she's fighting? Because I know there's a little overlap in terms of times, but I know you'd make it out in time. But did that ever cross your mind at any point?
Oh yeah, we were later in the day before I was competing on a Saturday. Mike was like, UFC is on tonight, and you don't know who's fighting, right? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I hope this is done quick so we could catch the card afterwards. But funny thing was that in kind of the back room, they were playing the fight card on the computer. And I'm sitting there warming up and I'm trying to get myself ready. And I keep on getting distracted. I'm like, oh my gosh, is she winning? Is she winning? And I was like, oh, you got to snap out of it because you got to fight to win. She's got to fight to win. Now's not the time to be doing this. But I wasn't able to catch the card. But it was just so funny because we were planning on, like, I could go and compete. We'll order the pay-per-view afterwards. Double night of fights. What can get better? But we had a double night of fights at the same exact time. So it was cool though. I love Rose. I love beyond just her skill and her style is how humble she is and her personality. I definitely think along with skill, along with your style, along with your mentality, that your personality will show in your style, in your game. And so I definitely try to emulate that. I don't want to be that person who thinks they're the best because although I was able to win both cards, I know there's somebody out there training just as hard as I am. And I know anything could happen, And so I always try to keep that humbleness and know that regardless of what's going on, regardless of anything around you, stay calm and that the Lord will fight for me. And that's the verse I always try to remind myself.
It's a good verse. And what's great about it with the Rose, similar to Max Holloway on the same card as well, they keep finding ways to just make me fans. And when Rose was, trying to get punked and there was a whole aspect that was trying to, say like, ooh, what's she going to do? She was so smooth and calm and composed that it just made me go, man, this is why we love you. Like this, obviously this is a nice character trait to have as a person, but when you're a really savage fighter as well, man, it really completes the package.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would just tell you this. It was a good fight. So I know as a fan, you'll get really excited to watch it because she did great. And it was one of the things when I did the research of you and other interviews, I heard you talk so passionately about her that I go, oh no. Yeah, now that I think about it, she probably didn't get to see the fight.
Yeah, I was I always try to, keep myself updated with the fights and stuff. And just knowing that she was going at the same time I was like, you don't know me. All I know is your name and you're an amazing fighter, but perks to you because we're fighting at the same time. And I hope you hear that.
Well, that's a really powerful spirit animal to have on your shoulder when you're in these things. So that's really pretty cool. I'm curious as well, because, you didn't really develop in the other interviews where you fell in love with her. Is there a particular fight that really like made you go, oh, she's or oh man, she's my fighter?
Yeah, I think I kind of always knew her as a really good fighter. I knew she was very composed in herself. I really think her fight against Johanna when that face-off picture was taken, I was really blown away by how composed she stayed. I was like, you're at, the top of the game. there you got a title on the line, and you have somebody, you know, whatever she was saying, with her fist in your face, and you're just standing there and you're just taking it in. And I think that's next level mentality. That is somewhere I would love to be. I would love to be at the top, and I would love to keep that composure and stay calm regardless of the situation, regardless of who I'm facing, where I'm at, with almost every distraction you could think of, probably surrounded by her, and just staying focused and staying calm, and praying throughout it all. I think that was when I was like, wow, you know, if I could, you know, emulate anybody, it would be her.
That's a great, great, great thing to talk about. I also want to get into your origin story because I want to really get to know you and where it happens. You say you've been doing this for 10 years, so it's half your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Every age I turn, that's how many years are added onto my my realm, just cut in half. Yeah, I started jiu-jitsu when I was 10 years old, living in Long Island. My mom put me in it for self-defense. You know, I was put in it for self-defense, and I didn't know how to feel about it. I thought it was a little weird at first, but I continued doing it. And I started competing, and I loved competing. And I was doing really well. And I grew to love it. I really grew a desire to do it. And by the age of 15, 16 years old, I started striking. I started kickboxing and boxing. And at that point, I moved to upstate New York. And by the age of 18, I was like, you know what? I'm really not good at anything else, and this is the only thing I'm good at. So, you know, I think I want to pursue this as a career. I started seriously training, seriously going for big competitions, taking anything I could get. I started working and training with Mike, and he took me to the next level, I must say. You know, I was doing good, but I'd never seen my game evolve as much as it did until I started working with Mike. And as he put so much into me, and he has put and continues to put so much into me, he continually gets me fights, you know, helps me train, you know, is there for me when I need him. And he has been more than I could ever ask for. And so, you know, I'm excited to see where we go as a team, where we, you know, continue to fight. What's next? You know, I don't know what's next, but I know that, you know, God has a plan, and he's definitely using Mike in my life to get me places. So I'm excited to see what the future has to hold.
So you mentioned it's through competing, but we often ask on this show, when was the exact moment that you fell in love? Do you have a particular moment where you said, yeah, this is it?
You know what? That's a really good question. I don't think there was any specific moment. I think it was, you know, a lot of people were asking me what I wanted to do, you know, as a career. What did I want to do for the rest of my life? And I remember for that whole year, you know, turning 18 years old, and was like, you know what? Maybe I should start figuring it out a little bit. And I started thinking, and I was like, you know, I started kind of like making a list of like what I love, and like what I kind of don't like. And jiu-jitsu and fighting was at the top of my list. And I was like, you know what? I think this is it. I think this is what I want to do. And my love for it is like, even the days where I almost hate it, I would rather be at the gym than anywhere else. And so yeah, this is what I want to do. I couldn't picture myself doing anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's always funny because I'm sure you were getting these questions like most young people do when people go, well, what are you going to do with your life? You're about 18. What are you going to do? And you go, I don't know. I like kicking people. Can I do that? You know, kick people and choke them out. And people are like, There's only one real career for that. It doesn't involve prison. So let's have you go into fighting. I guess that works.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to see people's facial expressions when I respond with, "Yeah, you know what? I think I wanna pursue fighting as a career." You could kind of see their face change. But everybody has their own thing. Everybody, has their own career, has their own, desires as to what they want to do, and everybody's desires are different. Nobody is made the same, and nobody is made perfect. But you know, this is as much as somebody might love teaching, or somebody as might would love being a firefighter, a doctor. That's their lifestyle. That's what they do. And for jujitsu is my lifestyle. I think of it, even right now, even though, I might not be getting paid consistently, I think of it as my career. I think of going to training as those are my hours to work, as if I am getting paid, and I think that's what pushes me you know, to strive for that, wanting to be my career. Because if I don't train, I don't I don't make any money, and that's my mentality. I go in there and I train. Those are my work hours, and it's my lifestyle. It's as much as I cannot wait for to maybe have a contract signed, or have my work paid off, which it has been. I'm enjoying the time now, which is leading up to that point.
That exact mentality is going to carry you very far. So like, it's so good because I think you kind of mentioned it before, which was you had a week and a half off because of COVID, and you immediately felt like complacency is bad. Like,
Yeah, something's missing.
great, because a lot of people go through different emotions through whatever is happening to all of us right now. And I think there's a very real aspect where it affects a lot of people mentally. And so for you, it's not just a hobby. It's not just something that helps you like that. It's something that is your career. So the good thing I would tell you, though, is that you mentioned how people love teaching. Well, there's a teaching element in jiu-jitsu. People like to travel. Well, there's a travel element in jiu-jitsu competition. People have to be good at accounting. Well, good news about that. If you're doing privates, you got to learn how to do books very quickly.
Right.
So you will adapt other fields as you continue your pursuit in this sport. And I think that will only expand the more you continue to grow. And I mean, already it looks very promising for you. So let me ask you this. If somebody hands you either a fight or a jiu-jitsu match, which do you end up taking?
Ooh, that's a tough question. Because I always say I'll take whatever I could get. If they're a week apart, I'll take both. If they're the same day, I would have to ask Mike about that, because that's something I could not make that decision. I love both equally. Jiu-jitsu is definitely where I started, and that is my fundamentals. But if I could do both, I would most definitely do both. People think it's crazy. But hey, you got to be crazy to do the sport. And if I could get more mat time in, and my body is, physically okay to do it, then I will absolutely do it. 100%.
I mean, you look like somebody who's going to be juggling both of these things for a while.
Yeah.
I kind of get the sense. And the thing is, you're only, like we said, you just turned 20. So, you're not even at drinking gambling age. You're still a baby. So there's still a lot of time for you to have as an athlete gets their peak later in life in terms of physical peak. So like, we're just on the beginning part of your roller coaster ride, and I'm very excited for that. Well, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to put a pin on the conversation here, but I get this sense, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that I think our paths will continue to cross. I get the sense that you're going to continue to doing well, and that this is not the only time I interview you after you win something. So I already am looking forward to the next time you and I get to chat. But I think what's really to me, and I know to your team, is who would you like to thank for helping you get ready for this? You've mentioned them a couple times, but there may be other people I'm sure you want to give shout outs to.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Well, definitely, first, I would definitely love to thank God for that opportunity and for, keeping me safe while I was there and keeping my entire family and my teammates safe and giving me the victory. I definitely shout out to Mike, shout out to Aaron and Sammy, Billy, Lauren. I could just go down the list of all my teammates who have helped me in training, but definitely my coaches, just because I could see in their faces, I could see it in Mike's face and Aaron's face before they went up, that they were as motivated as I was. They had that motivation in me and they had that hope in me, which was amazing to see. And I'm so glad that that I could make them proud in that way. I would love to take my family, my mom, my dad, for putting me into jujitsu. They were the reason I was put into jujitsu in the first place, and so I definitely couldn't do it without them and their support. I mean, I always say, as much as it's the only person who's out there with you is you. It's you and your opponent. But you don't train by yourself to get there. And support is so important, and to be able to have that, I feel truly blessed. And then just thank everybody who has helped me to get to this point, all of my coworkers, um everybody at my workplace, Adams, the cheese shop. They know what I'm talking about.
I don't
And
know what you're talking about. What did you say? The
so
cheese shop?
yeah, so I work at the cheese shop at Adam Saraker's farm here in Poughkeepsie, and they put out my poster on Subs on the Shore, and I had so many people from my workplace order the fight. When they barely even knew what was going on, they watched it, and the pictures and videos that I had were absolutely amazing. And so shout out to them. Shout out
Hold on,
to
hold on. I didn't know you worked at a cheese shop.
yeah.
How do you stay on weight working
Oh, it's
around
tough. It
that
is.
much food?
It is so tough. I mean, like, this time, yeah, I definitely didn't cheat at all. And I told Mike that I didn't cheat on this diet, but like, sometimes I get hungry. I take a snack here and there. He's, I mean, as long as it's under like 3 ounces, I think it's fine. But sorry if Mike just found that out now. But hey, I get hungry sometimes.
Because I mean, listen, I do jujitsu so that I can eat what I want to eat. I'm not fighting anybody professionally. I just know that if I were working around food and trying to lose weight,
Oh,
my
it's so
brain would
hard.
go crazy.
Oh, after my fight, I ate the most amount of everything. Oreos, pasta, orange juice. I was craving orange juice during the diet. Yeah, my diet was amazing. I'm glad I was able to push through it. But after I weighed in, it all went downhill.
Well, now I have an even higher degree of respect for you, the ability to maintain weight and stay on balance because, man, again, I remember being that young and being around food and being like, oh, we get these for free? Well, cool. It's in my mouth now. It's done. Like,
So many people tell me just wait until you're older. I'm like, I'm waiting. That's why I'm eating now.
that's a good perspective.
So,
The nice part is I had a nice little break. I used to play soccer. I played soccer 11 years, and it was the only
wow.
reason I was not obese because I ate very well when I was a kid, and it carried over even for years when I wasn't playing soccer. And then one day it just gave out, and it was like, "Your ride is over, Raf. No more metabolism." Well, it served me well.
Exactly. See, when I get to that point, I want to say thank you for jujitsu and thank you for all the times that I was able to eat whatever I wanted and maintain weight.
Well, that's great. As we circle around, I do want to ask you this. This is an important one, similar to, I guess, the first question I had for you, and I want to get your reaction to this. But according to this report, confirm or deny, it says that you actually have the second best hair in the gym.
Is that from Matt Marchese?
I can't reveal my.
Oh,
But
second best.
somebody's saying you have the second best hair. So that's a nice way of, you know, paying a compliment to you while complimenting themselves. So,
oh boy, I could only imagine who that is, and I think I know. But we always make jokes about, I don't know, whenever it's me and Matt, or it's me and somebody who has a clean shaved head, it's always whoever loses has to shave their head, which,
oh my
you know,
God.
ironically, I have my head shaved, and so is whoever I'm training with has their head shaved. So it's kind of like an inside joke at the gym. But yeah, I guess getting our head shaved is just trying to tell us we need a haircut.
Wow, that's a pretty intense wager, and I am a compulsive gambler, but I wouldn't even mess with that.
Yeah, see, that, I guess that just makes us push harder and laugh a little more.
Well, let me say this. You know, I'm really glad we were able to make this happen. I knew you would be traveling, but I definitely wanted to reach out because I think that these kind of things are really cool. If I were there at the event, I would have interviewed you. But since I wasn't able to do that, I wanted to make sure that we were able to get in some time and get a good interview. And I really do think you have a very promising career ahead of you. So, you know, from a perspective of a guy who's been covering people for years, you just got to stay on that path and stay focused. And I really think good things are going to avail themselves to you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Not a problem. So stick around. I'll talk to you off air in just a second, but I'm just going to close this thing up. Ladies and gentlemen, Fatima Kline, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So let me go in before we get you on out of here. I'm going to tell you guys tonight, we're going to be right back here for UFC Fight Night. Prelims begin 4 p.m. Best Coast time. That is 7 p.m. her time. We have a lot of friends that are going to be jumping in here tonight to watch along. So we hope you'll join us. And again, I want to remind you guys, if you want to buy some gear, go to No Gi BJJ Gear. Use the promotional code Grappling Hour 15 to get 15% off of whatever you put in your carts. Like I said, treat yourself. Don't feel bad if you gain weight. I don't. So you shouldn't. Buy new gear, 15% off. Grappling Hour 15. All right, like I said, we'll see you guys back here in a few hours. We're going to have some fun watching some UFC fights tonight with our fight companion that you know, you love, you want to see, and you want to see us cheer some of these guys. There's some great fights coming up. Anyway, my name is Rafa Esparza. Thank you so much for watching today. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.